Technology, cryptocurrency, China, India, and Asia more generally are on the rise. America and the West are in relative decline from an economic, military, demographic, and political standpoint. There are many exceptions to these broad trends. There are positive developments at the state and city level in the US, as well as in pockets of Europe, and the rise of innovation in bits has not yet fully unlocked innovation in atoms. But broadly speaking, our future appears to be a centralized East and a decentralized West. What should that decentralized West ultimately look like? An idea proposed by Balaji Srinivasan states that we should be working towards building a crypto civilization, a new world where anyone can be founder, crypto citizen, and can switch between those two paths at any time, where you can peacefully start new countries, join and move between them as citizens, fold them and spin them out, and balance decentralized competition with centralized cooperation, where we can use blockchains to reinvigorate liberal values by advancing free speech, free markets, equality of opportunity, privacy, voting rights, shared prosperity, and provably equal treatment through programmatic rule of law. The key enabling factor for this world is the concept of the network state, a country you can start from your computer, an archipelago of digitally linked enclaves, a union of sovereign collectives, a community aligned around cryptographic consensus, a city-state in the cloud, a body based on math, a group organized by geodesic distance rather than geography, a state that recruits like a startup, a territory one can acquire but not conquer, a nation built from the internet rather than disrupted by it. The ideas from this video are from an article published on the website and newsletter 1729. The article is called The Network State and is written by Balaji Srinivasan. I highly recommend you all check out the 1729 website and follow Balaji on Twitter. I'll leave links below in the description for you to check out if you're interested in further reading. Also, before we get into the rest of this video, I would greatly appreciate it if you left a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a lot and it lets us know that you're getting value out of this content. And with that, let's dive in. The network state is thought of as an archipelago of interconnected ideas. It's a social network with a clear leader, an integrated cryptocurrency, a sense of national consciousness, and a plan to crowdfund territory. The clear leader is the founding influencer, an individual who organizes the online community that eventually buys land in the physical. It's also important to note that the land doesn't necessarily have to share a common border. To visualize what this looks like, look at Southeast Asia on a map. Several of these countries are clusters separated by the ocean. In fact, parts of Indonesia are closer to Malaysia than other parts of Indonesia. On top of these geographical facts, we place the concept of a nation state. Two people within the geographic boundaries of a state-constructed map are citizens of the same country and subject to the same law, even if they're physically closer to a citizen of another country than to their own co-national. But what if we extend this concept? What if those islands were separated not by the ocean, but by the internet? This is the visual of the network state. Contemporary precedents include co-working spaces and even the offices of Google. Globally distributed, networked real estate, gated by the common login of a corporate account. A network state is an archipelago of digitally linked, interconnected enclaves. It's also a country that you can start from your computer, a territory one can acquire, but not conquer, and a group organized by geodesic rather than geographic distance. Let's go through each of these points to understand them even deeper. An important feature in the modern era is that you can build $1 billion company from your laptop, a 1 million person online community, a new digital currency, or even a new city. What if we could generalize that beyond just companies, communities, and currencies? Suppose we separate the world into founders of network states and citizens. Anyone can switch between these paths at any time, much like how founders of startups become employees, and vice versa. There are then 4 paths that become viable. Number 1 is citizen to founder. You begin an online community, write up a founding document, create a cryptocurrency, and declare your intent to start a network state. From today's perspective, this seems unrealistic, but think about Satoshi Nakamoto's plan to start a new currency back in 2009. If the process works for founding the first network state, it then becomes a template, and it all starts with building a following. Number 2 is founder to citizen. You may not want to remain a founder forever. Network states are also built for full or partial mergers and acquisitions. You can sell a network state to another network state, which transitions the logins of all your citizens to a new system. Number 3 is citizen to citizen. You join a network state and remain a citizen, or you acquire dual citizenship in another network state. This would include buying and holding the network state's coin, as well as participating in being civil. Different network states might have different provisions, just like nation states and social networks do. For example, a US passport allows you to enter some countries and not others. And Quora allows you to log in with Facebook or Google, but not the other way around. 4 is founder to founder. You continue running the network state you founded, or you can sell it, shut it down, or start a new one. Maybe the first state you make is focused on veganism, while the second one is on life extension. Instead of having to be elected president of the United States, we can now create communities with anyone who has an internet connection and our shared values. These all provide a positive sum avenue to the politically ambitious. Once we visualize a network state as a combination of A, a digital social network with an integrated cryptocurrency, and B, a physical network of distributed enclaves, we realize it's much easier to acquire than conquer. First, why is it easy to acquire? For the digital portion of the network state, when the founder sells to an interested party, it's like Instagram selling to Facebook. The digital logins of the two services are integrated, and citizens in each network state now have access to the other's apps and physical territory. This is the modern day equivalent to the Louisiana Purchase or the purchase of Alaska. You can also sell sub-networks instead of the entire network. Maybe it's the individuals in a defined geographic location, or those who have expressed a collective interest in changing citizenship. This is similar to Singapore becoming independent from Malaysia. It's also feasible to spin off a sub-network into its own network, like the UK exiting from the EU. Over time, the digital infrastructure for each network state should live on a blockchain. This allows the recording of real estate transactions, the maintenance of citizen records, and the management of private keys in a globally consistent way across legacy state jurisdictions. The network state reduces violence on another dimension as well. Because of their geographic decentralization and physical invisibility, network states are hard to conquer. First, let's talk about geographic decentralization. If you look at a map of France that includes its islands in the South Pacific, you realize it's difficult to invade the whole thing at once. So the geographic distribution of the network itself is a deterrent to physical force. Second, physical invisibility. This is much more subtle. Right now you can see the borders of France and Germany on a map, but you can't visualize the border between Twitter and Facebook. Another way of saying this is what people are on the border of those two social networks in the sense that they have accounts on both sites. This is huge because the networks of Twitter and Facebook are bigger than France and Germany combined. However, social network membership is invisible to all but network operators. Not needing physical space reduces nationalism, and border disputes become less frequent because the borders are invisible. This is what creates invisible countries. The last and most difficult concept to understand is that we would be forming groups based by geodesic rather than geographic distance. Let's take something like Snapchat, for example. With Snapchat, we're often sharing intimate moments with people that could be 3,000 miles away. But oddly enough, we don't even know the names of all of our next door neighbors in our anonymous apartment complexes. The assumption that the people we live next to share our same values and would agree upon the same laws is not necessarily true. What 1729 found out is that people share values with people who are closest to them in their social network, not necessarily their physical space. This can be quantified with math by looking at the definitions of the great circle distance and geodesic distance. The geographic distance is the distance between 2 points on the surface of the Earth. The geodesic distance, by contrast, is a completely different metric. It's the number of degrees of separation between two nodes in a social network along the shortest path. Geodesic distance is just as valid of a metric as the great circle distance. It means the network state is enabled by the fact that we're moving from a great circle driven world to a geodesic one. The division is now less between the visible geographic borders of the nation state. Now it's more between the invisible geodesic borders of the social network. This means we need to reconceptualize the state as a primarily digital entity, a network state. Geodesic distance enables fluidity between one network to another. Individuals and entire networks can instantly become adjacent to anyone in a social network. They can also move around the map to become adjacent to others in the physical world. It's a fascinating concept, and I can't wait to see how this develops going forward. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. My vision for this channel, and ultimately what I want to build, is a learning platform that can be an alternative to higher education. In theory, it would be all the things they don't teach you in school, but they should. These videos include all the things that I think will be the most relevant and important to learn for navigating life in the modern era. I'm also learning and part of this journey as much as anyone else, so let's enjoy the ride together. Thank you for taking the time to watch this all the way through. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.